Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about detox, but not the kind that comes in a juice bottle or a $30 supplement pack. I want to talk about the habits you've normalized that are quietly, incrementally degrading your gut, your hormones, and your overall biological resilience. Because the most damaging things in most people's lives aren't dramatic. They're the small, repeated, invisible things that compound over months and years until the body finally starts pushing back loudly enough to be noticed. What I'm offering today isn't a cleanse. It's a 7-day framework for interrupting those patterns, one habit at a time, and understanding why each one matters at a physiological level. Day 1 is about your phone. And I know that sounds like it belongs in a self-help video rather than a health channel, but bear with me. According to research, nighttime blue light exposure from screens suppresses melatonin production and delays the circadian rhythm by an average of 1 to 2 hours. But what doesn't get discussed nearly enough is what that melatonin disruption does to the gut. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it's produced in significantly higher concentrations in the gut than in the pineal gland, and it plays a direct role in regulating gut motility, protecting the intestinal lining, and modulating the immune activity of the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. In one study, individuals with chronic sleep disruption showed measurably higher gut permeability than well-rested controls, independent of their diet. Start day 2 with water first, ideally with something mineral-rich before anything else. Give your cortisol curve room to do its job naturally before you intervene. Day 3 is about eating speed, which sounds almost embarrassingly simple but has real physiological consequences. In one study, participants who ate the same meal slowly over 20 minutes versus quickly in 5 minutes showed significantly different postprandial glucose responses, lower ghrelin levels after eating, and greater reported satiety despite consuming identical portions. When you eat quickly, you bypass the cephalic phase of digestion, the anticipatory response triggered by seeing, smelling, and chewing food that prepares the stomach with acid, the pancreas with enzymes, and the gut with the motility patterns it needs to process a meal properly. You are essentially throwing food into a factory that hasn't been switched on yet. Day 3. Put your utensils down between bites. Chew until the texture changes. It takes almost no additional time and changes the entire downstream digestive process. Day 4 addresses one of the most underrated gut disruptors in modern life, eating in a state of stress or distraction. Your digestive system is a parasympathetic function. It operates optimally when the nervous system is in a calm rest and digest state. When you eat while scrolling, while in a meeting, while anxious or rushed, your sympathetic nervous system is dominant, and in that state, blood is being diverted away from the gut. Digestive enzyme secretion is suppressed, and gut motility becomes erratic. According to research, mealtime stress independently predicted bloating, irregular bowel habits, and lower reported digestive comfort in young adults, separate from what they were eating. Day 4 is about one meal, just one eaten without a screen, without multitasking, seated and present. Notice what changes. Day 5 targets added sugar. Not all sugar, not fruit, not natural sweetness. Specifically, the added, refined sugars that appear in condiments, flavored yogurts, packaged snacks, and drinks that don't taste particularly sweet. According to research, even moderate daily consumption of added sugars selectively feeds pro-inflammatory bacterial strains in the gut, while reducing populations of bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, the bacteria most associated with gut lining integrity and serotonin regulation. This shift can occur within days of dietary change, which is both alarming and encouraging. In one study, participants who reduced added sugar intake for just 1 week showed measurable changes in microbiome composition and self-reported reductions in bloating and fatigue. Day 5, read one label you've never read before. Find the added sugar. Make one swap. Day 6 is about movement, but specifically movement after meals, which I keep coming back to because the evidence is that compelling. A 10-minute walk within 30 minutes of eating uses muscle contraction to draw glucose out of the bloodstream independently of insulin, flattening the post-meal glucose curve and reducing the inflammatory load of a high glycemic meal. In one study, this single behavior reduced post-meal glucose spikes by a meaningful margin across participants regardless of fitness level. It is possibly the highest returning investment habit available to anyone managing energy, gut health, or metabolic function. Day 6. After your largest meal, walk for 10 minutes. Outside, if possible. That's the entire intervention. Day 7 is the one that ties everything together. And it's the most internal of all, reflection without judgment. At the end of this week, I want you to look back, not at whether you did everything perfectly, you didn't, and that's fine, but at what you noticed. Where did your energy shift? When did your gut feel different? What time of day did you feel most like yourself? According to research, self-monitoring without judgment is one of the most reliable predictors of sustained behavior change. Not restriction, not discipline, not willpower. Awareness, because you cannot optimize a system you are not paying attention to. The habits slowly killing you don't announce themselves. They just show up every day, dressed as normal life, until the body finally makes them impossible to ignore. This week was about starting to see them clearly, and understanding that changing them doesn't require a dramatic overhaul. It requires one small, informed decision at a time. I hope this gave you something real to work with. Drop a comment and tell me which day was hardest. I genuinely want to know. If this resonated, the like button helps more than you think. And if you're new to Nutriflow, this is exactly the kind of content we make here. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.